We have reached the appointed hour. We have a quorum. Let me remind you that we continue to continue the process for electing the chairman. Mr. Ray Chan has been elected as the vice chairman of the Home Affairs panel. He therefore is disqualified. And now let us continue with the electoral forum. Now we have 1 minute for each member, and then there will be a consolidated reply. Does any member wish to speak? Mr. Raymond Chan? Yes, please press the button. My question is very humble. In the policy address, according to the policy address, each panel should have a briefing on the policy address. As for the security panel, since the chairman was elected later, there was no briefing. So if you are elected, if you were elected, will you organize a briefing on the policy address? Dr. K.K. Kwok. Now, the rule of law, I'm referring to the Department of Justice. Now, the SJ has very poor popularity rating. She is the worst among all the politically appointed officials. The problem is the rule of law. I want to ask Ms. Priscilla Leung, who is standing for election, since the rule of law is at stake, and she deals with a lot, and she caused a lot of controversies, and she is seen to be one of the team members for supporting the SJ. That gives a very poor impression to the people. She is, Ms. Priscilla Leung is seen to be biased towards the government. How would she wipe the slate clean, and would she separate herself from the government and go back to the right path? Any further questions? I count 3. 1, 2, 3. Now it's time to make a response. Does any candidate want to respond? Ms. Priscilla Leung. Since 2 members asked the question, of course, I would like to ask the SJ to explain the policy address at the panel meeting. As you all know, I have tried my best. If I will be the chairman, I will try my best to meet your reasonable demands. I think it's reasonable for the SJ to come forward to brief us on the policy address. Secondly, I have talked to SJ, asking her to come more often to the AJLS panel. This is the counterparty of the SJ. About 2 years ago, or whether it was last year, when there was a controversy, at that time I tried together with the vice chairman at that time, hoping that the SJ would come to the panel and explain various controversial issues. And I tried to give time to members and arrange for the meeting. There was no need to make any allegation or point fingers to anybody. We should try our best to exchange views, and we try to uphold the rule of law, which is a common goal of all members of this panel. Whatever party line you fall into, this is the direction that the panel will go towards. Does any candidate want to speak? If not, then does any candidate want to conclude? 3, 2, 1. No. That's the end of the electoral forum, and let us distribute the ballot paper. When you put the chop on the ballot paper, after you've done so, I will announce the closing of the ballot. I will not distribute any further ballots, and then you have to put the ballots into the ballot box by by yourself. And before you put the ballot into the ballot box, please do not leave your seat. Yes, you can see the number.
而家選票嘅編號係1號。
Number 1, Priscilla Leung. Number 2, Hui Chi-fung. Number 3, Jeremy Tam. Number 4, Tanya Chan. Number 5, Dr. Fernando Chang. Number 6, Dr. Joseph Lee. And number 7, Dr. K.K. Kwok. There are still members coming in. Please give the ballot papers to them. This is a secret ballot. Please do not display your ballot paper in front of other members.
冇打鐘呢個程序，你第一日做議員啊，莫言。
Will not ring the bell. There is no such requirement.
柯創盛議員同埋
Mr. Oh Chong Sing and Mr. Lau Kok Fan and Mr. Chang Wah Fung.
我會㗎，我會。好啦，嗱咁啊。
Yes. Now I count 5, and if no one asks for the ballot paper, then I'll close the voting. 5, 4, 3, 2. At last.
嗰邊有幾個未派？
Now please, does any do all of you have got the ballot papers? Mr. Ho? Yes.
OK， 咁嗱，真係今次數五下啦。
All right, I count 5. 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Voting is closed. "36 ballot papers have been distributed."
講咗投票結束㗎。好 ，thank you。咁請工作人員呢係收回。
Would the members of the staff collect the ballot papers?
我諗都循例講一講呢個。
好啊。嚇！請大家呢
Please put the ballot paper into the ballot box by yourself, and please do not leave your seat.
你投咗未㗎？
Have you cast your vote?
哋請提名人可以出嚟監票，除咗歐樂軒。
咁我收翻晒呢。
Have you collected all the ballot papers? If I may invite those who nominate the candidates, Mr. Lam Cheuk-ting, Ms. Helena Wong, Mr. Alvin Young, Mr. Charles Mok, please come forward to observe the counting of the votes.
邊個提名梁美芬嘅？林卓廷議員啊。
會提名梁美芬咩？你可以切我今次冇，呢個刺喐嚟嘅嘛，大佬。
監提
你唱票。
4號。
Number 4. Number 4. Number 1. Number 1.
Oh.
Number 1. Number 1. Number 1. Number 1. Number 1. Number 4. Number 4. Number 4. Number 4. Number 1. Number 1. Number 1. Number 1. Number 1. Number 1. Number 4. Number 1. Number 4. Number 4. Number 4. Number 1. Number 4. Number 4. Number 1. Number 4. Number 4. Number 1. Number 1. Number 1. Number 1. Number 1. Number 4. So I announce that Ms. Priscilla Leung has got 21 votes and Ms. Tanya Chan 15 votes. So I announce that Ms. Priscilla Leung is elected as the chairman of the AJLSP for the current session. Thank you for your support and your vote. Now we can come to the election of the deputy chairman of the AJLSP. Any nomination, please? Ms. Claudia Mo? I nominate Mr. Dennis Kwok. Any seconder? Seconded by Mr. Raymond Chen. Mr. Dennis Kwok, do you accept the nomination? Yes, I do. Any other nomination, please? I'll count 3. 1, 2. 1, 2, 3. So, since there is no other nomination, I declare Mr. Dennis Kwok elected as the deputy chairman of the AJLSP uncontested. In the last legislative session, the AJLSP held its regular meeting on the fourth Monday of every month at 4:30, unless the time clashes with major festivals or holidays, and then adjustment could be made. So do we agree that we would adopt the same principle in schedule our meetings? If there is no other view, we would use this same regular meeting schedule. Now, the items for discussion in the next meeting the meeting runs more smoothly than expected. So we're now on to the items for discussion. That the next regular meeting will be held at 4:30 on the 24th of February. Let's take a look at the list of outstanding items for discussion and the list of follow-up actions. So I would like to seek your views on the follow-up actions to be undertaken. The government proposes the following items be discussed. First is on the 2019-20 Judicial Service Payment Adjustment. And the second item is the latest developments in international arbitration for Hong Kong. Mr. Ray Chan. Madam Chair, during the debate and the Q&A session, I've also raised this. I hope that Mrs. Teresa Chang, this S4J, could brief us on the policy address and to tell us what major directions should be taken in the next half year. That's very relevant to Hong Kong people. And the LRC has earlier submitted a final report on the review of sexual offences, and I think that should be discussed at the AJLSP as well. So I hope that can be included as well. I believe that we can follow up on these two issues. The government has talked to the Secretariat, and they are willing to make adjustment, and that is the item on the latest developments in international arbitration for Hong Kong can be postponed, and they can first brief us on the initiatives in the policy address. I hope that the S4J can come and brief us on the initiatives on the policy address, and we can raise our questions. And Mr. Ray Chan talked about the RLC's sexual offences report, and I think that warrants our follow-up. And in fact, HLSB has been following on that all along. Dr. Elizabeth Quat. Madam Chair, I know that the court right now faces some difficulties. Last time we discussed at another meeting that we would follow on non-refoulement claims. And we know that there are some 7,000 to 8,000 non-refoulement claims on the list for judicial review. And the Immigration Department said that over 10,000 cases will go to the court for judicial review. And every year, only 1,000 JR cases can be handled by the court. So there will be a lot of procrastination and delays. And the time can be very long in handling these cases. So I would like to find out how the judiciary will cope with this challenge. And we know that in light of the anti-extradition bill incident, and the police have arrested a lot of people, and progressively a lot of those arrested will be prosecuted and made to appear before the court. And all along, we've asked for some kind of arrangement, taking reference from, say, the UK, say, setting up a 24-hour court to expeditiously handle such cases. And in the past couple of days, we have been discussing the violent acts, and if the hearing cannot be held expeditiously, then there is no rule of law to talk about, and as a result, there will be more crimes committed. And I hope that the judiciary can come to us and tell us what the considerations are and how they will clear the backlog of cases, and also deal with a large number of cases expected in the future. Ms. Tanya Chan. I might not remember correctly here. I would like to know more about the LRC's progress in working on the archive law and so on. And it's been 1 year on. And I would also like to know more about the Access to Information Act, and this have been long awaited, and I hope that we can schedule a discussion on these matters if possible. So these have been issues we've been following up on, so we can arrange for that to be discussed. For myself, I would like to raise this. The court building has been set on fire, and individual judges have been insulted, and they feel their personal safety is jeopardized. And I would like to raise this question. Will extra resources be allocated to protect court building and also judges? I think this year there is a need to do that. And when I attended the legal year opening ceremony, I have talked to various people, and I hope to include that in meetings this year. If extra resources can be deployed to enhance security, that would be best. I think the judges have to be given protection. Law buildings have to be given safeguarded as well. So these will be included in the list of items for discussion as well. If there is no AOB, I would like to say that together with the Deputy Chair, we'll meet with colleagues from the DOJ and the administration wing, like we did in the past, to raise issues that we would like to follow up in the current session. We would like to handle these issues. If there is no AOB, we can end the meeting now. So best wishes, good wishes to your health in the Lunar New Year. all the best, so we can adjourn the meeting earlier today.